Saudi Arabia to allow only immunized pilgrims for Umrah. Travel to recovery MCO states still only under green travel bubble concept. Hello and good afternoon. Thank you for joining me. You're watching Updates at Noon. I'm Muhammad Amin Carlos. Well, Malaysians are advised to continue complying with the SOP set by the government, especially the rules involving interstate travel. Deputy Health Minister Dr. Nur Azmi Ghazali said interstate travel is only allowed through the green bubble travel concept.
Mana kalau kita nak jalan-jalan ke tempat mana, PKPP satu lagi, kita buat rombongan. Kita kena gunakan agensi pelancongan. Dia pun dapat buat bisnes, dia dapat duit, dapat sambung kehidupan, kita dapat jalan. Umpamanya. So sebenarnya semua ada SOP dia. Jadi kita nak rakyat hari ini insaf dan sedar. Amalkan apa yang kita sarankan, ikut undang-undang supaya kita dapat selamatkan diri kita semua.
The Deputy Minister was speaking during the Bicara Narrative program last night, where he commented on the interstate travel during Hari Raya Aidilfitri. Previously, Senior Minister for Security, Dato' Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, said during one of his press conference on COVID-19 that the decision to allow interstate travel in conjunction with the upcoming Hari Raya festive season will only be made after risk assessment conducted by the Health Ministry. The Federal Territories Ministry welcomes any private corporations to invest in projects that contribute to Putrajaya, especially in the ecotourism aspect. Its Minister Tan Sri Anwar Musa said this is in line with the objectives of making Putrajaya the first recreational city in the country, in addition to a national administration centre.
Kita terbuka. Jadi, kalau dia ada idea, sebab kadang-kadang kita dalam pentadbiran kita tak nampak. Tapi orang lain dia ada pengalaman. Kita ada terima idea untuk membina apa dipanggil Putrajaya Tower, which we have given the approval. Satu kawasan bukit akan dibina Putrajaya Tower, dan dia ada beberapa aktiviti di situ around Putrajaya Tower. Macam saya kata juga safari. This idea come from the private sector. Very interesting idea.
Speaking at a media conference in Putrajaya, Tan Sri Anwar also announced a glamping or glamorous camping project offering services in the Putrajaya wetlands area. Currently, there has been a number of local corporations that have suggested ideas for development of the project. Therefore, works to complete the glamping project is projected to begin by the end of the year, after the company's selection process is finalized in the nearest future. Well, a total of 575 creative industry players receive funds under the Cultural Economy Development Agency, or Cendana Recovery Initiative, amounting to 10 million ringgit. And according to Communications and Multimedia Minister Dato' Saifuddin Abdullah, the fund would provide job opportunities and benefit to over 3,000 artists and cultural workers in the country whose incomes were impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Among the fund amounts available are small grants of up to 3,500 ringgit to adapt to the new normal situation working online and for short-term durations.
Individu, kolektif, kumpulan dan organisasi yang berjaya menerima manfaat pada hari ini, menerima saiz gerian yang berbeza bergantung kepada aplikasi dan program yang disasarkan.
Speaking at the media conference on the announcement of the recipients of the Cendana Recovery Initiative funds, Dato' Saifuddin also said there is up to 35,000 ringgit available for arts and cultural spaces, involving support in terms of rental and utilities, and funds of up to 100,000 ringgit to make arts as part of the urban scape. Well, Bursa Malaysia opened higher today, tracking the better overnight performance on Wall Street as investor sentiment was buoyed by positive U.S. economic data. At 9:09 a.m., the benchmark FTSE Bursa Malaysia KLCI gained 1.65 points to 1,585.89 from Monday's close of 1,584.24. Well, a survey from the Institute for Supply Management, or ISM, on Monday showed activity in the U.S. services industry reach its highest level on record in March following the country's positive jobs report on Friday, which beat forecasts, with 916,000 jobs added to payrolls last month. On the broader market, gainers led losers 290 to 174, while 358 counters were unchanged, 1,309 untraded, and 9 others suspended. Total volume stood at 538.44 million shares worth 198.43 million ringgit. Meanwhile, the COVID-19 vaccination phase 2 program, which is set to begin on April 19th in 8 states, may continue to bring positive sentiment into the market. For Sector in Focus, the research house said the construction and property sectors are expected to be under the limelight for the near term, not forgetting the proxy segments such as cement and steel industries, given the news on the MRT3 and ECRL projects. Short-term rates are expected to remain steady today on Bank Negara Malaysia's or BNM's operations to absorb surplus liquidity from the financial system. Liquidity in the conventional system is estimated at 41.72 billion ringgit and 25.14 billion ringgit in Islamic funds. Well, the central bank will conduct 3 conventional money market tenders comprising 2 billion ringgit tenders each for 7 days, 14 days and 30 days respectively, and an Islamic range maturity auction or IRMA card tender valued at 3.4 billion ringgit for 7 to 30 days. It will also conduct a 250 million ringgit commodity Murabaha program tender for 63 days. BNM announced the availability of reverse, repo, sale and buyback agreement or SBBA and collateralized commodity Murabaha or CCM facilities for tenors of 1 to 3 months. At 4 p.m., the central bank will conduct up to 34.5 billion ringgit conventional overnight tender and 20 billion ringgit for a Murabaha overnight tender. Well, All England champion Lee Zijia has given himself 2 years to become the world #1 after breaking into the top 8 recently. The 23-year-old shuttler said the lack of consistency was his main weakness in previous tournaments, and he had been working with his coaches to rectify this.
Kalau untuk target saya memang saya harap between 1 or 2 years maybe saya akan solve weakness saya untuk stablekan performance saya, dan memang harap ada satu hari boleh jadi world #1 lah. Yeah.
He was speaking after a brief meeting with Youth and Sports Minister Dato Sri Rizal American 9 American at Menara KBS in Putrajaya. Commenting on the Olympics, Zijia said like other players, he wanted to aim for gold, but many factors had to be considered, especially the pressure at the world's biggest multi-sports event. And with that, we end updates at noon. In our top story, Saudi Arabia to allow only immunized pilgrims for Umrah. And join us again at 10 p.m. on saluran Berita RTM on My Free Views, channel 123. And you can also stream the link via YouTube or RTM Click web portal and mobile app.